Good morning, Michigan. A very pleasant Monday to you, and a pleasant Monday it is around the world because Osama bin Laden, the notorious leader, is dead. President Obama last night confirmed the news in a hastily scheduled late-night address. It was about 10:30 last night that word started surfacing that President Obama was going to have an immediate press conference to talk about national security. That was pretty scary to hear, until a few minutes later, the leaks started to come that the news was that Osama bin Laden was dead. And this is what the president said when he finally got on the air sometime around 11:30 p.m. Eastern last night.
Tonight, I can report to the American people and to the world that the United States has conducted an operation that killed Osama bin Laden, the leader of al-Qaeda. Today, at my direction, the United States launched a targeted operation against that compound in Abbottabad, Pakistan. A small team of Americans carried out the operation with extraordinary courage and capability. No Americans were harmed.
Osama bin Laden, of course, the mastermind behind the September 11 terror attacks, killed in a luxury hideout, it turns out, in Pakistan after a firefight with U.S. forces. That was a frustrating decade, it was, trying to get Osama to reach his end. The U.S. officials said the CIA tracked him to his location, and then there were elite troops from Navy SEAL Team 6, that's a top military counterterrorism unit, flew to the hideout in 4 helicopters. Bin Laden shot in the head in an ensuing firefight, and his guards resisted the attackers. So did Osama. U.S. personnel identified him by facial recognition, and it may have used DNA analysis also to make sure that it was Osama bin Laden. The U.S. team took custody of his remains, which I'm told was very important, so they could actual evidence that they had Osama bin Laden. The word is, though, that he'd been buried at sea already, and the remains were handled in accordance with Islamic practice. There were no countries. It would have been difficult, I guess, to find a country that would have taken his body for a burial, so they buried him deep at sea, and I guess no one will ever know where that location is. We talked earlier with Osama Siblani, who is the publisher of the Arab American News, that's in Dearborn, Michigan, and we asked Osama Siblani what he thought about the obviously extra sensitivity that the U.S. showed in burying Osama bin Laden in accordance with Islamic law very quickly. Here's what he said.
Well, as far as I'm concerned, they can put him in the garbage. I mean, this is a guy that does not represent Islam and should not be given the dignity of being honored, as a Muslim. In fact, Osama bin Laden has killed more Muslims and Arabs than he killed Americans. So this guy is not a Muslim. This guy is a criminal. And he should be treated like a criminal.
Well, I guess you can see why, given the situation, that the Americans decided to be extra sensitive so that nobody can point and say that they're barbarians or, that they made a display out of him or anything like that. We're trying to err, I guess, it would seem to me, on the side of being respectful to Muslims, don't you think?
Well, I really don't see that this this pleases the Muslims either way. What pleases the Muslims in the world that Osama bin Laden has been caught and killed, because this man has created so much trouble in the world that no Muslim, no Christian, no Jews, no other person has done before except Hitler. And I think that a person like this does not deserve the dignity of being buried like a Muslim or like a Christian or like a Jewish. I really think that people are very relieved that this congratulations to the American people and to the Muslim world and to the Arab world that a person like this that has been killed and eliminated. And of course, our thanks goes to our armed forces and those people who cooperated with it to make this happen.
That's Osama Siblani with me just about 30 minutes ago. He's the publisher of the Arab American News in Dearborn, Michigan. Professor Raymond Tanter at Georgetown University, a prolific author and used to be with the University of Michigan, was on President Reagan's National Security Council, is nice enough to be with us early this morning. Good morning to you.
Good morning, Michael Patrick.
I guess what they found him somewhere in Pakistan, as I understand it, in what was called a luxury hideout, $1 million custom home built to harbor a major terrorist. huge fortified thing with 18-foot high walls, barbed wire, and there were security gates, no phone, no internet, and they knew about the house for a while, intelligence officials. They just wanted to make sure it was bin Laden, and when they were sure, in they went. What's your reaction?
Well, Michael Patrick, it is not a surprise that bin Laden was captured in an urban mansion. Many of al-Qaeda's senior leaders have been captured in Pakistani cities. Recall that KMS, Khalid Sheikh Mohammed, was also caught in an urban city, Rawalpindi, Pakistan. So it's been a sort of a rural myth that al-Qaeda leadership was hiding in the caves in the tribal areas between Afghanistan and Pakistan, Michael Patrick.
So that business where we keep seeing the video of him poking around on that rocky hill was all show business?
Well, that's the only video we had, so we kept using it over and over again. That's the problem with video, unless you update it. But the big news, Michael Patrick, is that in the old days you could say the king is dead, long live the king, meaning that there will be a replacement. And Osama bin Laden has no replacement part. There's no part B to this drama. So this is a huge story because the man is irreplaceable as a senior spiritual leader. That said, he is replaceable from the point of view of command and control of al-Qaeda, since al-Qaeda no longer has this kind of command and control, a hierarchical structure as a single unit. It does have affiliates with command and control, and you have this young man in Yemen who's born in New Mexico, an American citizen, who will emerge as one of the top replacement parts for Osama bin Laden, but al-Awlaki can't hold a candle to Osama bin Laden.
Yeah, will he live on as in martyrdom? Is there such a thing in the Muslim world that he can still inspire people from the grave?
Oh, yes. No, he will live on, and there will be random attacks against small targets, but there won't be a 9/11 reprisal raid because it just takes too much. And Team A is, by and large, either dead or in Guantanamo Base, Cuba, and you now go deep in the bench pulling people off the street, if you will, and trying to get them to be inspired to take terrorist actions, Michael Patrick.
Well, one wonders, with no phone and no internet, how much direct contact did he have? How much direction did he have over al-Qaeda? We'll answer that question with Professor Raymond Tanter when we continue in 3 little minutes. Stay with us. It's Michael Patrick Shields, all across Michigan.